Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to begin with acknowledgements. We're very grateful to Mayor Barry, Oak Lawn Mayor Barry, State Representative Kelly Burke, Cook County Commissioner Donna Miller, Oak Lawn Village Manager Randy Palmer, Oak Lawn Clerk Jane Quinlan, Oak Lawn Trustee Bud Stalker, Fire Chief Zach Riddle, Police Chief Dan Vittorio, Emergency Communications Director Diane Tousignant, EOC Commander Art Clark, Finance Director Brian Hannigan, and we're grateful to have our Chief Financial Officer Amar Ritsky for the county here as well. It's an honor to be with you today to announce the distribution of over $680,000 in coronavirus relief funds to the village of Oak Lawn. And to celebrate these dollars and support they've given to providing continued efforts to respond to and recover from COVID-19, from the pandemic. This has been a very challenging time, not just for county government, but for local units of government as well. Cook County received approximately $429 million from the U.S. Treasury regarding the CARES Act in late April. And under the Act, units of local government with a population exceeding 500,000, that's Cook County, are eligible to receive this funding and can distribute these funds to municipalities under this threshold for direct expenses related to the coronavirus. The priority for allocating funds was based on socioeconomic determinants and public health needs. COVID-19 is having a disproportionate impact on Black and Brown communities, and this approach is designed to ensure that more of these dollars are going to communities most impacted by the coronavirus. Allocations to each municipality were determined through an equitable lens, with factors that included the immediate needs of the municipality to respond to the pandemic, municipal population, municipal median income, and municipal public health statistics. We worked on creating an equitable distribution formula with the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, CMAP, and I'm proud of the results. In fact, the National Association of Counties, NACO, praised our equitable distribution formula. We've created a consistent, thorough, and equitable and legal process to distribute millions of dollars in CARES Act funds to municipalities to direct COVID-19 related costs, such as PPE purchases. But now we need to hear from our suburban local governments and elected officials. Cook County is here to help. Oak Lawn is a shining example of how this can work efficiently and effectively. They were able to visit our website, fill out the necessary paperwork, and receive the check in the mail shortly thereafter. In many ways, the good this money can do has already been realized in this community. Funding provided through our process has allowed Oak Lawn to continue to provide critical services through the pandemic to our residents. It has helped fill the financial holes that were left when we acted swiftly to protect our first responders in the line of duty. It also assisted residents in 5 local nursing homes through distribution of personal protective equipment. Without question, these efforts saved lives. I'm encouraging all local governments eligible for relief funds to follow Oak Lawn's example. Please fill out the paperwork quickly to avoid leaving vital money on the table that can go to costs such as personal protective equipment, payroll costs for first responders, and operational initiatives to facilitate return-to-work arrangements for suburban municipalities. All subrecipients of COVID-19 must let us know their intentions regarding the proposed relief by September 30th, 2020. I'm going to say that again. All subrecipients, our cities, towns, and villages in suburban Cook County, must let us know their intentions regarding the proposed relief by September 30th. If a municipality has not provided an application for a plan to use the remaining allocation, the county must then rescind the municipality's remaining allocation so that it can go to other important pandemic needs. So this is a use it or lose it proposition. We have all been through an immensely difficult time, but Oak Lawn's example shows that these dollars can help our communities to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting economic strain. I look forward to working with all of our suburban municipalities to ensure that they can assess these resources and we can rebuild as one Cook County. Now I'd like to welcome Oak Lawn Mayor Sandra Berry.
Thank you. Thank you, President Preckwinkle, for your very kind words. It's such an honor and thrill to frankly have you in Oak Lawn and to receive such a generous distribution. Oak Lawn really, really welcomes you, appreciates the visit. Oak Lawn has a long-time partnership with the county for our emergency management needs. Director William Barnes, your Cook County EMA director, has always been working with our EMA director whenever tragedy strikes, whether it's grants for training, resources such as generators. You have been true partners with our community. We are very appreciative of that. I want to welcome all of you. Oak Lawn, got hit with a double whammy. We're no different than your households. We have lost revenue and increased expenses. At a time when it's so critical to keep our public safety net, this has really been hard, and we've unfortunately faced layoffs. We have done many, many difficult things. This revenue is so desperately needed. Our priority has been from day one to continue the services residents come to expect, which are primarily public safety related. Our police, our fire, our emergency communications, and our public works. When residents call for help, we want the Village of Oak Lawn to be there and give them what they need. And to do that, we also wanted to protect our first responders. It was critical to make sure that they have what they need to do their job. If they're not safe, if their families aren't safe, it just cascades and no one can be safe. They say on the plane, put your mask on first. Well, our first responders are our municipal version of that, and we wanted to protect them. It was very, very challenging. We also have critical infrastructure in Oak Lawn, which I want to talk about. We have a level 1 trauma center, which is a regional medical hub. We supply water for 325,000 communities. We are a regional dispatch center and a transportation hub as well. When the pandemic hit, to keep everything going, we had to work from home, implement technology we never used before. All of these things were very, very costly, but they were critical to do. This grant, this CARES Act funding helps us with that. Supporting the vulnerable populations. Madam President, you talked about our nursing homes. They were hit very hard. Having access to PPE through the county did save lives. We have a disproportionate number of seniors in Oak Lawn, very vulnerable people. We also were able to get the food pantries mobilized and increased the services to the community. The CARES Act funding is allocated just for COVID expenses, but what it means, we're not having to pull resources from these essential services to cover all these things, and we can maintain critical operations. It saves lives, it saves jobs. It goes a long way in assisting us to keep everyone safe. From day one, when we received our check, 40% of it was used already for the initial expenses that we incurred, which included overtime of first responders, public works personnel, extra cleaning, all the things we needed to do to survive that first wave, fix our infrastructure, whatever we needed to do to work remotely, for example. But what it does, and communities really need to take advantage of this, we don't know what's coming next. This CARES Act funding helps us be ready for what is next, and that is critical. And communities, it's easy to do, as President Preckwinkle said, take advantage of it. Our CARES Act check was delivered quickly. We got it the first week in August. We felt that the county understood our urgency. The finance folks there were in communication with our finance folks. I want to give a shout out to our EOC Commander Art Clark and our Finance Director Brian Hannigan, who were on it from day one. And of course, all the village employees also who kept diligent records and helped us. Moving forward, these times are uncertain. Our partnerships mean everything moving forward. Together, we can do anything. I want to thank the county, and I want to thank our federal legislators also and our state representatives. We're hoping future support from the government may cover lost revenue. Working together, we can get through this and get to the other side and enjoy the better days facing us ahead. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. State Representative Kelly Burke.
Thank you. I just would like to thank Mayor Burry and President Preckwinkle for having this and inviting me. And I just want to reiterate thanks to the county. President Preckwinkle, Commissioner Miller, and Commissioner Daly always do a great job advocating for the residents of Oak Lawn, and we're very fortunate to have them helping us out. And I want to thank the county for doing a timely job and a really thoughtful job in allocating the CARES Act. For anybody, probably Mr. Hannigan probably going through the PowerPoint and the process, there were a lot of factors to consider. And but the county really stepped up, helped the municipalities figure out how they should apply, what they should be doing, and the fact that they got the money out the door in a timely manner is really helpful. Sometimes in government where transfers are going from one level of government to another, it can take a long time, and it's really frustrating for the folks who are expecting the money. So kudos to the county for getting that out the door. And also just to thank Oak Lawn. They're a big suburb in the area. They're a leader in many ways, and they've led again by getting all their ducks in a row, getting their application on file, and working with the county to get the money they need for the COVID responses, to help their first responders and really keep the citizens safe. So thanks for leading again by example, and hopefully all other municipalities who qualify will follow suit. Thanks.
Oak Lawn is represented by two commissioners, Commissioner Donna Miller, who was able to join us this morning, and Commissioner John Daly, who wasn't. Commissioner Miller.
Thank you. And I just want to thank everyone for being here today. Get this off of my earring. And thank you to Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle. I'd also like to thank Mayor Burry for welcoming us. And thank you to the President's Office for her leadership during this pandemic and recognizing the need to assist our municipalities in suburban Cook here in the south suburbs and the 6th District, which have been greatly impacted by COVID-19. As of this past Friday, the Southland recorded just under 25,000 cases of COVID-19, and Oak Lawn had almost 15,000 cases. The south suburbs is home to many frontline workers, as well as many businesses that have been impacted by the health crisis. However, we know that local governments have been greatly affected, and the county and municipalities have been on the front lines battling this pandemic and continuing to provide vital services to our residents. Help is needed, and I'm proud to be here in Oak Lawn with Mayor Burry and the President supporting the distribution of the CARES funding that's so badly needed to help defray some of the costs that the pandemic has imposed on our municipalities. I've been communicating regularly with the mayors, and again want to encourage all the 6th District as well as the rest of the suburban municipalities to make sure they submit all the required documentation to the county so they can get their CARES fund allocation as quickly as they did in Oak Lawn, and as we quickly approach the September 30th deadline. The district has been allocated, the 6th District's been allocated over $13 million in CARES funding from the county, and we want to make sure all the municipalities receive the allocation in a timely manner. So again, thank you, President Preckwinkle and your administration for doing such a great job and being here today to make sure that the CARES funding is available in deliberative and equitable fashion. Thank you.
I believe our final speaker is Village Manager Randy Palmer.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming. I want to thank, first of all, President Preckwinkle, our Mayor Burry. I want to thank the commissioners, especially the county. I want to thank my team mostly. From the beginning, they jumped on top of this, and as we always do, we get our information, we start keeping good records, and then we prepare the documents. I want to thank the county for being so easy to work with. Any questions that we had, they worked very well with Commander Clark. We were able to keep our first responders out on the street. As many municipalities know, we've never handled something like this before, so this was a one-time event. So we had to kind of think on our feet and go with everything that, came out of nowhere, and you're trying to keep the team in place as people are becoming ill. So we did have about 20 responders that our first responders who became ill. We were lucky enough that we did have the funding that we could keep our teams in place and keep safety in the community. So I want to thank again President Preckwinkle for staying on top of that and get us that funding as soon as possible. I'm honored to stand in front of this team. We were the first community to receive these funds because of that effort. So the one thing I would say to all the village managers out there in all the communities, get your documents together, go online, the county will work with you. You're going to need this money as we did to keep your teams in place. So I would highly stress to you, do not let that date come and go. Even if you are going to apply, let the county know and they will work with you. So with that, I thank everybody. I thank my team. Thank you, President Preckwinkle. Thank you, Rep. Burke. And thank you, commissioners, for all your help and getting us this funding so we can keep Oak Lawn moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions from the press? Two, okay. We'll start with you. How's that?
I was listening to the remarks that there were 15,000 cases of coronavirus. 1,500.
I think she misspoke.
Yeah. And does that include our patients at, and I hear that there don't have a lot of cases that we have a big crisis right now, but does that include the hospital or
Sure. Mayor, could you help us?
So the county website lists cases by zip code, and my understanding is the zip code is not the zip code of the hospital, but the zip code of the last residence. So those cases are unfortunately Oak Lawn residents. Now, of that large number, many were in nursing homes and have vulnerable. Oak Lawn has a very high number of vulnerable folks in our community, and proximity to the hospital attracts that. It's an aging community for whatever reason, but yeah, every one of them, it's 1,500. Thank you. Commander Clark, anything you want to add? Anyone else want to add anything? Okay, thank you.
Do you have any further questions, ma'am? No. Okay, sir? With what newspaper? I'm sorry. The reporter.
It's not, the money wasn't allocated on a per capita basis, was it? But I know some communities are mad with the money that they didn't get enough, they didn't feel they got enough.
I'd be happy to speak to them if they don't feel they got enough. Let me tell you how we put the formula together. First of all, I want to thank Amar Ritzky and his team. They worked closely with the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, CMAP. $51 million was allocated to our suburban cities, towns, and villages. 1/3 of it went on a population basis, and 2/3 went on the basis of need. So there were communities that had, like Oak Lawn, a significant number of nursing home facilities and therefore had a higher incidence of the pandemic, and therefore they had greater financial need to respond. And so communities that were particularly impacted by the pandemic and communities that had underlying socioeconomic and public health needs got a share based on equity. So we had 1/3 that was based solely on population, 2/3 that went on the basis of impact of the pandemic and socioeconomic need. But you should direct anyone who has any concerns about our formula to me. Thank you.
And do you know what percentage of communities have applied already, or?
Our chief financial officer, I think, can speak to that. Amar Ritzky.
Good morning, Amar Ritzky. So we have about, we started getting the word out through these press conferences just last week. And at the time of Thursday, we had about 30 applicants, but on Friday, we had 41 applicants out of the 130 plus municipalities in Cook County that have applied. And so the word is getting out. And so we really appreciate you guys just getting the word out, especially a lot of our elected officials here. you know, one of the biggest reasons why folks are hesitant is because there's not a lot of depth and capacity in a lot of municipalities to understand this. You know, not everybody's fortunate enough to have Commander Clark and Director Ryan Hannigan here on their teams. These were the first folks that reached out to us and got this stuff going. And so, you know, we anticipated that, and we have a lot of good resources available both in person and online to get help to these communities as soon as possible. And so, you know, your efforts are really appreciated to get the word out to a lot of our communities to make sure that they can take advantage of these resources.
Is there a deadline to apply?
Right, so there's two sets of deadlines. One is internal for the county, which is September 30th, as Madam President mentioned. By that time, municipalities need to let us know whether they're going to use the allocation or not, because if not, then we can, there's a lot of other needs out there that, you know, within the county as well as externally, so we can repurpose those monies for that. And then the Federal CARES Act itself, we are required to use all these monies until, by December 30th. Not 31st, December 30th. That's the actual date in the CARES Act. And so unless the Congress goes in and extends that, we have to use all these funds up by then. If not, then we would have to return whatever money is left over back to the federal government.
In terms of getting the paperwork, lining up the ducks, does it have to be done by September 30th, or do municipalities just have to let you know that, hey, we're
Right.
gonna be applying by
So our paperwork and all the receipts, things like that, all the backup documentation, that's really the reason why we set the internal deadline for September 30th is it gives us about a 3-month window to go ahead and get all those paperwork in so that we can cut the checks out to folks by that deadline. At a minimum, right. We're getting late in the year, so unless the federal government extends the deadline, we want folks to not only just let us know, but start, you know, submitting it, even if it's like half an application. Let's get the ball rolling. I think that's our goal. Thank you. We appreciate that.
All right. Is there anyone online, Nick? Okay. All right, thank you both. Thank you all for joining us. We're very grateful. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Okay.
It's a pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much.